when you live in a forested community, you accept and appreciate a certain amount of risks. But recently, a couple years ago, my husband and I decided that we wanted to simplify our life a little bit, and we moved into a 60-home subdivision that's just lovely with young families and active retirees and some people with some limited mobility. And it's a lovely environment. And I was enjoying myself there and doing some landscaping. I'm a gardener, and came to recognize that there's this program called Firewise, and the fire department was developing some very nice landscaping brochures and plant lists that were helpful to me, and so I started bringing them to the community. And some of the other leaflets that turned out applied for our development and trying to minimize our risks, so the homeowners just put them out through the community, and people were receptive to that. And then people started talking to me about some of the areas around the community and concerned that they weren't mowing the grasses on the north side of the property that bordered 7 houses. And so I went and looked at it, and then another individual says, have you been noticing the Himalayan blackberry thicket on the north side of the property now? And the grasslands are butt right up to 7 homes, and they come up from the freeway. And the Himalayan blackberry field is huge, 30 feet deep, 8 feet tall, and extends 17 houses long along the subdivision. And it's a worry. It was a worry for people. So we talked about it, and those conversations led to, well, who owns this property? And we assumed it was City of Ashland, so weed abatement rules would apply, but no, it was Jackson County. And then, surprisingly, it was the Ashland School District that owned this property. So the Homeowners Association sent a letter to them, and many people did call them until we wrestled into trying to be a little more focused and talked about mowing the grass as well. And that the grass issue has been greatly improved upon, and everybody's happy with that. But we also just started to recognize that maybe we needed to do things in the common grounds of the community and do more within our community for fuel reduction and fire protection. And Katie Gibble offered at Ashland Fire and Rescue to do a walkthrough, which was just a great breakthrough for us, because we really knocked on doors and spread the word, you got to come, this is really important. You have an obligation, so to speak, under the fire program in Ashland. And we also invited the maintenance people from Ashland School District to come along. And we walked through the whole thing, and it was teaching by example. And it was not threatening. I mean, she would point out things in a home that needed to be addressed and why, as an example. And we learned so much, and everybody learned a lot. And then on top of that, we had kind of developed this little Firewise committee, ad hoc Firewise committee. And so one of the members, Sandy, summarized the whole walkthrough effort, and we sent it out to all the homeowners. So those that didn't make it and those that did, will remind them of it. But that was a real turning point in our paying attention to what kind of risk was in our community. And after that, we did little things to keep up the momentum. But it turned out it wasn't until, well, I guess it got close to August and people started to get really nervous, because that's the fire time in our region. And of course, right after that, we had the Almeida fire, which was just terrifying to the community, to everyone. And we all got kind of distracted in paying attention to people we knew who were affected, and resources that could be assembled in the community. Everybody kind of was terrific in supporting these individuals, including our personal friends. After we did the walkthrough, we wrote up priority projects. And the priority projects involved both the Himalayan blackberry issue, but also a lot of the common homeowner grounds around the pond and other areas in the homeowners that had Oregon grape and all these flammable plants. And so we wrote them all up, and we ended up with 6 priority projects. And number 1, of course, was the blackberries, and submitted those to Ash and Fire. And then we got up close to the end of August, and we ended up facing the Alameda fire, where our friends and family and others had experiences and needed support, and we're still supporting some. And it was a real lesson for everyone. And then we went into November, and suddenly Katie Gibble Ash and Fire called and said, gee, would you be interested in submitting an application to Firewise USA, the federal program? And I said, sure, we can do that. And everybody got together, developed maps and visuals to support our priority projects, and submitted it to the federal program. And quite quickly, week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, we found out our application was approved. And that assumption along with that was that this would be some funding that we could take care of some of our priority projects. And then it was quiet. We went through the holidays, and before I even got home from the holidays, suddenly the wildfire crews that work in our region were done fighting fires and were available for fuel reduction projects, and we were able to get them and have them come over. And their available time was, well, I was still out of town, and our committee got the dumpster, the big bins and things all set up, and they came in and addressed 5 of our 6 priority projects. Wonderful gentlemen, very efficient, very generous and understanding of people and their feelings, and it went very, very well. I had people come up to me when I got here saying, I love the sound of chainsaws, and they were loud for days and days and days, but the project got done. And then the little side gift was everybody just suddenly realized, wow, we can see the whole valley from our home. I feel that this is an amazing group of people, but maybe they're like most big groups of people, people are amazing, but they rose to the effort. They didn't get anxious, even though, especially after the Alameda fire, it's like, whoa, we got to get this done. And yet, those living right there with the greatest exposure were still very generous and understanding, and realized that we'd done what we could do, and we just had to wait for this opportunity to occur, and it did. So I think the takeaway was how dynamic it can be with people when you're wrapping your arms around an issue you all share.